Hello and welcome to John's Author Diary for the weekend in March 31st, 2019. I've been working frantically to try and get the second draft of Strength finished this week, so I managed to do that with about 15 minutes left on my writing day on Friday. So what I'll do now is get that sent off to some alpha readers, hopefully get some feedback on the story before I go into the third draft. Now, I was intending to do the first draft of The Hermit, but my head wasn't in it. So I think I need to just accept that I need to complete these novellas before moving on to the next one. I think I've tried a few times and it's ended up wasting, maybe half a day, something like that, just trying to get into something where my head's not quite ready yet. So I need to be efficient and try to stay focused on the things that I need to stay focused on. So as well as getting that done, I've also got The Chariot finished and ready for release. So that's going to come out on April the 4th. So I think The Chariot is still the longest one. I think it's actually about 10,000 words longer than Strength. But I think what ends up happening with my third draft is I end up adding maybe a few thousand words. So it's still going to be in the region of the other novellas. So I've been reading some really cool books this week. I read The Giver by Lois Lowry. I've never read that book before. I've been recommended it several times. It's very good. Definitely a young adult dystopian story. I think there were a few things that were maybe missing from the story, but it was a solid read. And I think if I'd read that as a 14, 15-year-old, something like that, I think it would have been quite an impactful book. And speaking of impactful books, I revisited a book that I read when I was about 16 that had a real impact on me. So I reread Catcher in the Rye by J.D. Salinger. And this book's tremendous. Cannot recommend it enough. Absolutely loved it. I mentioned last week that I'm going to start reading some books on copywriting and marketing. So I am currently reading a book called This is Marketing by Seth Godin, and I am also reading the Adweek Guide to Copywriting. So my plan is to work through those and make notes and hopefully get better at getting my books to people. So I think as I'm coming to the end of March, I'm thinking about what I need to do for the next quarter. My main aim is I want to get at least 2 more books in the Ravenglass Chronicles written. I also want to get Night of the Wasteland finished. I did the rewrite of Wizard. Now I'm working on Night, so I've done the first chapter of that, and I want to keep plodding on with that. I'm also hoping that one of my collaborators on the Black Death series should be finished with his draft of Book 3. So if you remember, I wrote my contribution to this over a year ago, so it's just been hanging there. So I really want to get this out, really want to get it done. I don't like waiting this long on a project. I feel like we've left a lot of money on the table, and we would have had a year of earnings, a year of cash flow if we'd released it when we originally planned. So I mentioned last week, I think, that I've been recording episodes for the Sci-Fi Roundtable podcast. We did our 3rd episode last week where we actually interviewed a rocket scientist. So that was pretty cool. So we're going to launch this podcast. I think we're going to send out the first few episodes on the launch day on April the 24th. So there's still a few weeks to go, but what we're doing is we're getting a few episodes in the bag before we launch, so we can get maybe 5 episodes out within the first week and then go on a weekly schedule where we have an interview episode one week and then an extract of someone's writing on the next. So that should be very exciting. So I've had no questions this week, but if you've got a question, email me. It's john@johncronshaw.com. I'd also like you to consider supporting me on Patreon. So this is patreon.com/johncronshawauthor. From as little as $1 a month, you can get access to exclusive stories, articles, audio stuff. If you go there now, you can read some of my stories for free, so please do check that out. So until next time, cheerio.